welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Angel and today I'll be sharing some more budget-friendly DIYs. For this first project, you're going to grab some of these Dollar Tree little wood pieces. As you can see, I have a whole ton of them, but you're going to go ahead and find two pieces similar to these and then two smaller pieces. If you don't have smaller pieces, you could just cut these in half. Now, like I said, I have a whole ton of these, so I was able to find little tiny sticks in my bags. You can definitely just grab these out of your yard if you don't have any of the smaller ones in your packs. On the two larger pieces, I'm going to go ahead and mark where I want to put the little legs for these reindeer. And then I'm just going to take my drill with a small bit on it and I'm going to drill down in those holes just a little bit. You don't want to go all the way through. You just need it to be slightly in there so that you can stick the legs up in there. Now, if you don't have a drill, you can definitely poke holes in these because it is soft wood. But once I had the holes made, I went ahead, added some Dollar Tree wood glue, and then I'm going to stick these little sticks in the holes. Once I had those finished, I set those aside to dry, and while I was waiting, I went ahead and drilled a little hole in both of the head pieces. And once the glue was dry in the body pieces, I did the same on top of the body part. I just drilled a little hole, added some glue, and then popped in a little stick that I had cut down. Then I just added a little bit of glue onto the head piece in the hole that I made and popped it onto the neck part. I went ahead and used a really small drill bit to drill the holes in the head for the antlers, but before I did that, I grabbed this tiny little bead that I had and I'm just going to cut that in half to make the noses. These little wood beads pop in half pretty easily. I just cut the ends of it and it popped right in half. Then I'm going to use some more of my wood glue to put the noses on, and I did end up painting one of the little beads black and I left this one that red color. Now for the antlers, I had these little Halloween picks from Dollar Tree on hand. They do have some out for Christmas right now too that are different colors, but I went ahead and just cut off a few pieces of this to make the antlers, and then I'm going to use some of my brown paint to paint over these. And once they were dry, I just glued them into the little holes I drilled in their heads, and here's how they turned out. For this next project, I grabbed 3 books from Dollar Tree. You can definitely use thrifted books or books you have laying around for this project, but I went ahead and I cracked the spine so that I could get my fingernail down in there and pull these books apart. I'm actually going to be removing the covers of all 3 books. These were fairly simple to remove. I just had to check where the pages actually met the binding, and then I was just able to rip the cover off. Now, once I had all the covers off, I'm going to go in with a large brush and some of my antiquing wax, and I'm going to dry brush over all the pages and the fronts of these, the backs of them, all over these books to give them a vintage look. Then I'm just going to take some of this crochet lace ribbon from Dollar Tree and I'm going to wrap it around all 3 books in the lower part of the books, and I'm going to tie it in a knot. Then I added in some twine in a little bow in the front, and I'll cut down all of the little tassels hanging down. Now, I had planned on using a stamp that I have that says joy for this, but I completely forgot and actually used this Dollar Tree stencil. So I'm just stenciling on the word joy across these books. But you could definitely stamp these books or use another stencil that you like for these. The possibilities are really up to you. And then once I had these all stamped, I'm just going to add one of these little Dollar Tree greenery picks. These are for the Christmas trees, I think, and I just put some white paint over it, cut these down, and added those in. For this next project, I'm going to be using some scrap 2x4s that I already had laying around, but you can definitely use Dollar Tree wood for this project. You would just glue 2 pieces together and then go ahead and cut those down to make 2 little house shapes. Or if you didn't want to cut wood down, you could use some of the Dollar Tree house decor that they put out seasonally and all year long. But for mine, I did go ahead and drill little holes in the top, and I'm going to make little chimneys later that you'll see, and I'm going to put down in these holes. But to make these holes, I had to drill inward and then down into these. And the first thing I did was just go ahead and whitewash both of these pieces. I just added a little bit of water to some of my white chalk paint, and I'm going to paint over these entire pieces with this. Then I'll let that sit for a minute and I will rub it off with a paper towel. Now I did end up doing this a few times until I got the color that I wanted. Then I'm going to use this Dollar Tree stencil. You can see it has a little brick design on here, and I thought it would be really neat to mix up some spackling with a little bit of water and rub it over this brick design on the stencil so that you could get a raised textured brick on these houses. Now I just went in and kind of put some in random places. I wanted to make these look like old homes that maybe some of the brick was falling off, and I just thought that was really cute. Now I let the spackling dry for about 24 hours, and then I just mixed up some brick color paint, and I'm gonna go in and barely dab some of this paint on random bricks. Once I had painted the random bricks that I wanted to do, I did go back in with some of my white chalk paint and dry brush over all of the bricks so that the bricks would look whitewashed. For the chimneys that I talked about at the beginning, I am just using some more of those Dollar Tree wood pieces, and I just used some wood glue and stuck those down in the holes. And finally, for this project, I felt like it needed some greenery, so again, I'm using one of those Dollar Tree little Christmas tree pick things. I forget what they're called. But anyway, I did go ahead and trim the needles down on these, and I'm just going to twist these up into a little wreaths to add to the houses. And here's how they turned out. I absolutely am obsessed with these little houses. I just think they're so adorable. For my next project, I wanted to make a Christmas scroll, so I picked up some of this mailing paper from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to leave this wrapped in the plastic, and I'm just going to use a sharp knife and cut this down. Mine ended up being about 13 inches. Then I went ahead and removed the plastic, and I'm going to start rolling this up at the bottom to create my scroll. You want to be sure to roll this up until both sides are about equal. That way the bottom has some weight to it and it will stay hanging down. Also, to secure this, I did go ahead and add a little bit of hot glue just so that the paper could not roll down once I was hanging it. Then I went ahead and rolled this out the length I wanted, and again added some hot glue to the top just so that this couldn't roll out any further. Now at this point, you're going to grab a fan brush and you're going to pull out your inner Bob Ross. This is my test tree right here. I literally just watched a Bob Ross episode, and I'm just gonna try my best to make his trees. I was really nervous, but here you see I'm just practicing again. So I'm just using the tip of that fan brush to make the trunk of the tree, and then the sides of my fan brush, I'm gonna make the little limbs. But once I finished procrastinating, I went ahead and started making my trees on my scroll. I made a larger one in the center, and again, I'm just using the technique that Bob Ross uses. And actually, it's pretty simple once you get it, and I really don't think you can mess these up. But I just went all the way down my tree, and then I will go back in with some more paint on this brush and kind of fill in all of those bare spots. Now, apparently the key to making these trees is to keep your paintbrush loaded up with paint, and then you're just barely tapping these branches. But once I finished my first tree, I kind of got the hang of it, and I went ahead and made 2 more trees to go with it. And here at the end, I did just go back in with a little more paint and dab the bottom to make kind of like a little landscape. Then finally, all I had to do was just add in a little bit of rope, tie a knot at the top, and then I'm going to twist that rope around so that the knot is inside of the tube. And that was it for this project, and I'm actually super happy with the way it turned out. For my final project, I wanted to make some little Christmas candlesticks, so I picked up 3 of these little planks from Dollar Tree, and then I'm also going to be using some of these little square wood planks from Dollar Tree as well. I just cut that down in half, and then for the little flames on these candles, I'm actually using these little wood pieces that come out of the toy race car kits. The first thing I had to do was cut 2 of these little planks down because I wanted my candlesticks to be different heights. So I just figured out kind of where I wanted it, and then I cut those 2 pieces. Then I went ahead and stained all the pieces with some of my Waverly Antique Wax, and I'm going to go back over these once they were dry and dry brush some of my white chalk paint onto them. I also painted the little square wood piece that I had cut in half at this point too, because that's going to be the base. While I was waiting for everything to dry, I went ahead and used some of my gold metallic paint to paint those little race car pieces so that I could use those for the flame. I also ended up dry brushing a little bit of my metallic copper paint over these as well, and then I'm just going to use some wood glue to attach these. After that had dried, I did go ahead and use some more wood glue to put these candlesticks together. And to add on the base, I'm just using a combination of wood glue and hot glue, just using the hot glue to hold this until the wood glue has time to dry. Then I felt like this needed a little more detail, so I wanted to make some dripping wax go down these candles, and I'm just using my hot glue gun and just making little wax marks all over these candles. Then I went in with some of my white chalk paint over all of the hot glue. And finally for this project, I added in a little bit of twine at the bottom, some of Dollar Tree's little bells, and a little more of that greenery. And here's how they turned out. That is it for this Christmas video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.